Some mornings, I sit here with a cup of tea in my hands, and I feel so torn. Life feels slower now, more peaceful, but also uncertain. I never thought I'd be in this position. Grateful to stay at home with my baby, but also grappling with guilt, fear, and a lingering sense of loss. Because in a few days, I'll be handing in my resignation. The truth is, I don't want to go back to work. But saying that out loud feels unfinished, complicated. Like I'm rejecting all my responsibilities and everything society told me to value. It's a personal topic, but I think it's worth sharing because I know I'm not the only one figuring out these kinds of decisions. I'll be talking about what's led me here, how I'm navigating it, and some ideas I have for the future. Before I get into it, I just want to say a big thank you to the now 16 new subscribers who have joined this little space from my last video. It honestly means so much to me. So hello and welcome. I'm also nearly at 900 views on that video, which blows my mind, honestly. And to everyone who left comments or liked my last video, thank you. It really made my day to read your thoughts and feel that connection. I'm so grateful for your support and encouragement. It means more than I could say. Thank you. And now to dive into the video, starting with my history with work. I haven't always been in so-called professional work, but I've almost always found myself working in some shape or form. Whether it was part-time jobs during school or college, helping out with family responsibilities or volunteering whenever I could. I've always felt this pull to contribute. There were times when my mental health took over though, forcing me to take a step back. But when I did work, I tied so much of my value to how well I performed. I pushed myself probably harder than I needed to, always aiming for perfection. Over the years, I dipped my toes into different industries. Hospitality, teaching, admin roles. Honestly, at first, I just went for what I thought someone might accept me for. But I knew that none of those roles ever felt like it. That's why I studied so hard to pursue what I thought was my dream job, a career in medicine. It felt ambitious and meaningful. It aligned with my desires to help others. But as I've shared in a previous video, that dream started to crumble when I learned about the realities of big pharma and discovered natural remedies. I thought I was chasing the stars, but I ended up lost in the clouds after seeing that the stars didn't hold up their shine up close. So, in the meantime, I did some voluntary work whilst trying to refigure out and find that sense of purpose, that spark. Truthfully, I still don't know what job it would be. What would feel like it's worth showing up for, even on the hardest days? What would feed the soul and make you feel better for doing it? I started focusing on roles where I could make a difference, charity work and positions involving helping the community. And eventually, I landed what I thought was my now new dream job, a professional role that had a direct, positive and responsible impact on the local community. I worked so hard to get there. I gave up quite a lot of things and I worked long hours, did some grueling interviews, and securing the role felt like such an achievement. But the truth is, the job I'm leaving behind isn't something I look back on fondly. In fact, it's a chapter of my life that still feels heavy. It's complicated. The reality of the work environment is a story I'm still learning how to unpack. It wasn't all bad. I had teammates who became like family. We shared jokes, supported each other, I made the best of a difficult situation. But the work environment itself, it broke me. Our boss was, well, a bully, intimidating and manipulative. Manipulative even. And I don't like saying that, but that's how it was. I remember feeling like I couldn't even go to the bathroom alone. I was too scared of what might happen. The stress was constant, like this weight pressing down on my chest. And I was always on edge, always second guessing myself. I literally had bouts of imposter syndrome. Even the happiest moments, like finding out I was pregnant, didn't soften the boss's approach. In fact, I had a meeting with my boss where they pushed me so hard I ended up having a panic attack. And this wasn't the first time, and I knew it wouldn't be the last. Eventually, my team fought back. We got our union involved, and that boss was removed. But the damage was already done. The anxiety, the fear, is still with me. Sometimes I catch myself holding my breath when I think about going back to that kind of environment. When I was 3 months pregnant, I mentally couldn't go into work anymore. The stress, the pressure, it wasn't just affecting me. I worried about my baby too. My rights felt ignored and my safety felt at risk. When I had my baby, everything shifted. The things I used to prioritise, work, career, proving myself, suddenly felt so small. I look at my baby and I realise these moments are fleeting and I don't want to miss them. But it's not as simple as staying at home and feeling content. There's guilt, this sense that I'm letting people down. My colleagues, the people who stood by me during those hard times, the friends I made. Though one did actually suggest I quit and become a YouTuber. And then there's this little voice that says I'm stepping back from a fight we all work so hard to win. And then there's fear. Fear that I'm making the wrong decision, that I'll regret this one day, that I'm not contributing enough. I still carry the trauma of my old job. Even though my new boss is kind and supportive, the thought of stepping back into that world makes my stomach turn. It's not just about the work itself. It's the way it seeps into every part of your life. I came across this quote the other day. Burnout doesn't happen because you're not capable. It happens because you've been strong for too long. That's exactly how I feel. I was strong for too long. And now I'm just tired. Tired of living on the edge. Tired of proving my worth through how much I can endure. And yet, even knowing that, there's this nagging doubt. What if I'm letting go of something that can be good? Is it that I'm not as strong as I think? How are others, also disrespected by the system, still able to go in? This decision hasn't been easy. We're not in a place where we could just stop working without consequences. We're living off savings, cutting back on everything. No unnecessary spending. We're trying to grow some of our own food and make do with what we have. Some days, it feels like a lot. The uncertainty, the weight of trying to make this work is heavy. My partner is looking for work too, but where we live, it comes by really scarcely. But I don't want him to just accept anything and end up in the cycle that I was in. And then there's societal pressure. This idea that if you're not working, you're not useful, you're not valuable. I've been wrestling with that a lot lately. But when I stopped to think about it, I realised how much value there is in just being present, being a parent, being someone who chooses how to live. Even with the challenges, this life feels right. Not perfect, not easy, but right. Living here in the countryside, life feels calmer. Instead of rushing out the door in the morning, I get to take walks with my baby. I get to cook meals from scratch. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Though my partner right now does a lot of this. Thank you, love. It doesn't mean I have it all figured out, far from it. There are still moments of doubt, still days when I wonder, am I doing the right thing? But I'm learning to sit with those feelings, to let them come and go without letting them take over. I read a poem recently that said, if you don't know what the best or the next, if you don't know what the best or the right thing to do is, then do the next thing. That's what I'm holding on to right now. Just doing the next thing, whatever that might look like. For so long, I believed my worth was tied to my job title, my salary, my productivity. But I'm trying, and with some success, starting to see things differently now. Raising my child, nurturing my family, creating this channel. These are all ways I'm contributing. They might not look like traditional work, but they're meaningful. They matter. I don't have a clear roadmap of what's to come next, but I'm learning to trust this. I'm learning to trust that this path, imperfect as it is the right one for me. Right now, I'm tossing around some ideas. Maybe I'll get into yoga or even do a yoga teacher training course. I've always loved it and it feels like something I could really get into. Or maybe I'll start a catering business. Who knows? I'm just really trying to follow what feels good right now without rushing into making any decisions. It's not glamorous or perfect, but it feels like the right kind of not knowing for me right now. I'm taking my time and letting the next step unfold when it's ready. If you're feeling torn too, craving a slower life or just a different one, I want you to know that you're not alone. It's okay to step back. It's okay to prioritise what matters to you, even if it doesn't look like what society expects. There is no one-size-fits-all answer. Everyone's journey is different. But for me, this is the path that feels right. And if you're on a similar journey, I hope you'll share your story too. We're all figuring this out together. Thank you for listening. And if this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going, because none of us have all the answers, but we don't have to try figuring it out alone. Until next time.